Well, we'd like to share with you our unplanned and accidental meeting of two very nice people, Melissa and Bret Humphrey. And we met them at Nicole's surprise birthday party. And it was at a pizza parlor, and there were probably, 30 to 40 people there. And as usual, which usually happens is that people tend to sit with people that they are either immediate family or close friends. And it was rather crowded and congested, and Judy and I were up and about, and lo and behold, there wasn't a seat for both of us sitting with our immediate family. So we noticed right behind us that both Bret and Melissa had two seats, empty seats behind them. So we joined Melissa and Bret, and as usual, people were unknown with each other, start with a superficial conversation, I called it, greeting ourselves and who are you, and usually, the conversation goes into how did you get to know Bradley and Nicole, something like that. But ultimately, we found a common point where it opened up a whole interesting conversation. We found that both Bret and Melissa were active members in the Lake City Church. Judy and I went there several weeks ago, and we found it a very, very nice experience. And it seemed to have a lot of energy and happiness in general.
Joy.
Joy.
Yeah.
So I was really impressed. So I asked Bret and Melissa to tell us more about it, because I thought that model is an excellent model for other churches, regardless of the denomination, and it has the potential of being propagated to other churches and organizations. So I've invited them to tell us about Lake City Church and some of the things that happened. So before I start, I'd like to ask you, what was life like here in Mooresville before you got involved with Lake City Church?
Mooresville's very family-oriented, so we did like that about Mooresville. Very family-oriented community. We were part of another church, and we participated a lot in that church. But our faith, I don't think, was very strong at that point.
Spiritually, we were not growing.
Yeah, we were not growing spiritually. Our faith is a lot stronger now. Our marriage is a lot stronger now. We found good people to be in our lives, friend-wise, that push you to be better, help you to be better. They're there for you when you need them if you don't have family around or anything like that. Before Lake City, we had a lot of acquaintances.
We had no
Lots
real
of acquaintances,
connections.
Yeah, but no connections with anybody that we
So
could
did you have
depend
any
on.
deep friends at that point in time?
Not really, no.
No.
So basically, you were leading your own lives
Yeah.
within yourselves and your immediate family. Is that in your
Yeah.
work?
You know what?
Pretty
I take
much.
that back. I did have one really good friend, and I'm still good friends with him.
Yeah.
That we met years ago at our older church, and they've actually been to Lake City too. So.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So has Lake City changed your life?
Definitely.
And
Absolutely.
how has it changed your life?
Well, before I lived for myself and for my family, where now I actually live for God, and I know what that means. I get emotional when I talk about stuff, so I apologize. But I now know what it's like to be a Christian and live a life for God instead of me kind of
and
thing,
day
I
by
guess.
day. Not,
Yeah.
Not living.
And when
in the
something
spiritual
goes
realm.
wrong, it's okay. Pray to God, ask God for help, and give it to God. Don't try to control it, because when you try to control it, things aren't going to happen the way you want it to happen. So you just got to talk to God and pray to God and ask Him to intervene in whatever situation you're in, and trust Him and talk to Him every day. like a person. Like if He's there as a person, just literally talk to Him. And I didn't know that until now.
So towards the beginning, when we started to attend this church, this is the third location it's been at. Mm-hmm. And from day one, 8 years ago, they were all loving family people, and you felt the Holy Spirit in the congregation in the leadership. And so we followed to the second location. We grew. We grew in a lot of different aspects. And then, what's it been, 3 years they've been at the other?
4 years at the school.
4 years at the new location.
Oh, yeah, 3 years at the new location, sorry.
So now it's growing, and we've decided to grow with it. So we grow spiritually. Our marriage is strengthened, like she said. There's so many different things that you can get involved in now.
Like the life groups. And we lead a couple life groups together, individually and together.
So
When we walked into the church, the first thing that hit me was the greeters. They seemed really happy.
Oh, yes.
It wasn't just, hi, welcome. It was more energy and really meaning it. So, and then as you go further in and walk in, they had different areas where things were going on, even before you entered into the main part of the church.
Well, that's really important to the leaders in our church. Even when people step up and volunteer for certain positions in the church, there's so many volunteer opportunities in our church. They're very particular about who they put where, because they really want people that are like people that aren't bashful, that want to come up and say, hey, nice to meet you. Is this your first time here? Have you been here? Because we're so big, so we don't always know.
Yeah.
So they make sure they strategically place the proper personality type people in certain positions. And I think that's great. I mean, they don't ever turn down volunteers, ever. It's just, you can tell if somebody's outgoing or if someone's just a little timid. Maybe they'd rather be in the office doing paperwork or something, you know? So,
really?
Yeah, they're pretty good about it.
So there's a social aspect in addition to the spiritual aspect of the church.
Yeah.
Is there an interplay in your mind between the social and the spiritual aspect?
Like how we want to become a community instead of
Does
just
one
people
affect
coming
the
in
other?
and out.
Does one affect the other? Or does one build on the other?
I believe so, because if people feel like they belong, they're going to stay and they're going to receive the word. But if you don't feel like you belong or you're accepted, you're going to walk away.
You're going to move on.
So what if Lake City Church had a format where you would come, go to the service, and leave, and that was it?
It wouldn't be the church it is now if that's the case.
There wouldn't be the growth.
Yeah. It's like a family. It really is.
What happens beyond the service at the end of the service each day and go into the week and the month? What other
So
things
we
happen?
offer the life groups, and life groups happen Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Morning time, evening times, whatever, in other people's homes, in the church, outside of the church. And we have over 36 life groups, and it ranges from a men's breakfast to a woman's luncheon out to an art class, a gardening class,
Biker group.
a motorcycle group, a women's adventure group, a Bible study. I mean, you name it, we have it.
There's a wide variety.
It's interests,
of it.
yeah. We try to find interests and bring people in that have the same interests to form bonds and relationships with each other.
So along with to answer on the other part of
which you guys should be kind of separate buddies.
that question, they also do a Wednesday night service.
A Wednesday night live.
So
it's worship. That's all it is.
It's
is worship
basically
and testimonies.
Worship. So and I'll tell you
it's like a pick me up in the middle of the week, because you know the world will come at you 24 hours a day. The world will come at you. And so Wednesday is sort of like a happy medium, because Sunday to Sunday is a long time for people that don't necessarily read the Bible every day or listen to Christian music or whatever. So Wednesday night is specified for people to come in, let loose, let it all go, cry at the altar if you need to, have somebody pray with you if you need to, or just sing and worship, listen to other people's testimonies. It's an hour.
They're well attended?
Oh,
Yes. It started with like 5 people.
And now?
A couple years
it's a
ago.
full
It was
house.
pretty much. It's not a Sunday morning, but it's full.
It's full.
And our youth program
Yeah,
has
they-
literally had to change days because they're taking over our church.
Really?
The youth.
I can't
Yes.
remember if there was close to a couple of hundred
It's
in
so
the,
big.
just in the teens. So, and, you know, they're the next leaders of the church, and they're the next.
What's the main force behind all of this? I mean, how did this happen?
Well, I think it starts with the leadership and what they foresee their church being, I think. And it starts with them, and then it starts with the church, and then it goes through to the church members. And like our hearts just want to belong to something, not just something, but to God's family, and to have other Christian friends in your life.
Who are inspirational?
Yeah, I mean, it helps.
Who are there for you?
Yeah, I mean, it might not be family by blood, but it's like your family, you know?
Does it eventually become self-sustaining? Let's say that the pastor passes away. Is this movement now so strong that it's almost self-sustaining?
I think it
Yeah,
could be,
it
yes.
is.
Yes,
It is.
I don't think the members would let this fall. It would
No
not
way.
let this. What's happening at Lake City Church must not end, because there's people coming from all over.
And-
So
and-
how fast has the membership grown?
Oh my gosh, we've probably grown. Don't quote me because I don't know the numbers, but probably within 3 years,
3 years, it's-
we've added 2,000 people to that church.
Holy smokes.
It's quite a
At least
large
1,000,
number.
maybe 2,000.
It's a large
We're
number.
at 3 services now,
Yeah.
which fit about 400-ish people in,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have overflow rooms with a screen that people can go to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just fills. Now that we're at 3 services, we're not full.
So it sounds like a lot of administration. How is this managed? How is it administered?
We have one lady that has been the administrator since we
Since
started
day one,
going
yeah.
downtown Mooresville, and April is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
she keeps things rolling. It's the same one person, but she has a lot of people that help her too.
There
But she's
are.
the
I was
main.
going to say there's several helpers
Yeah.
now who she has taught and trained and things like that.
So everything doesn't rely on the
Not on
back
one
of the
person.
pastor or one person.
No, no.
Oh no, it's
no.
definitely a whole team.
Are there other tools that you use to help people?
We have a church app. We have an actual app that you can get in.
Church Center.
It tells you about church services, children's programs, youth ministry, life groups.
It lets you message the people of your life group.
Yeah. Do you mind if I click on it real quick just so I can remember? I'm on this thing
You
every
can
day.
tithe through the app.
Prayer requests.
You can tithe.
Yep, you can
Oh, you
tithe.
can tithe through the app.
Yeah.
Do prayer requests. Even if you don't belong to this and you had a prayer request, it is definitely not secretive, but like not everybody's gonna. What's the word I'm thinking of?
Private.
It's very private. Yes.
So is this app developed by the church, or is
No, I think it's a generic app called the church app, and then you go in and plug in your church,
so
whatever your
so
church.
it's non-denominational than the app is then? It's not.
Yes.
It is.
I
Yes.
think so.
Any church could use this if they
I'm
wanted.
pretty sure, yes.
Oh, wow.
They would just have to somehow correlate their church into with this app.
I see.
Because when you originally go to pull it up, you have to type in Lake City Church.
Or
and
if
you
you're
tap
at the
it.
church, it will automatically
Pull it
know
up.
where you are.
Yeah.
You know, it'll ask you to select wherever you are.
So when we were at dinner the other night at Nicole's party, you said that people make reservations and you fill it up and.
Well,
tell me about what was that? Tell me what was
So
that?
that's
about?
the life group. That's only the life group we lead.
Okay.
Because it's called Supper Buddies, and we go out to local restaurants
Supper
once a
Buddies.
month.
Supper
Buddies, yeah.
Okay.
So we didn't make the name up.
Another couple started it but couldn't continue it, and it grew, so they asked us to take it over. But because restaurants are limited at how many people they can fit, I do have to do a first come first serve basis
Really?
until I reach my max number. Like, say the restaurant we're going to next weekend allots me 50 people.
Right.
I cut it off at 45. Don't tell anybody. Because I always get someone that doesn't RSVP.
They don't RSVP.
But So I'm allotted 45. Once I hit 45, I make an announcement on the app on my life group that says, hey, I've reached 45. Sorry. No more signups. Wait till next month. We'll see you next month. But if someone at the last minute needs to cancel, they can use that message board to say, hey, I'm not going to make it. And then 2 other people can step up.
So you've had to turn down people.
Yeah.
I have.
Unfortunately,
but last month I had to turn down 4. But 4 people backed out the last minute, and I called them. I said, hey, you want to come? So. It's last minute. They're like, yes, we want to come. So
Wow.
So our life group went from 30.
Well, we started with 8 people.
Yeah. So
In our life group.
now I think it's what 174 on the list.
Yeah.
So and
that
not
one group.
and not everybody
but
comes.
not everybody really.
So they may
comes
come
to it,
1 or 2 times, in several months.
We average 50.
But who doesn't like to go out and eat dinner?
Yeah, everybody has to eat, and it's a good way to fellowship and get to know each other. Just like we got to know you guys last night. That's exactly what we do at Supper Buddies.
So I'm going to give some real basic math here. Before Lake City Church, approximately how many people did you know then in your life? And now, fast forward to today,
Gosh.
what's the
Well, we
estimated?
knew a lot of people.
Total people.
Let's say we went from 100 people we knew before church to now 2,000 people.
In a short period of time, right?
Pretty much, yeah. And leading life groups helps that, though, because you really have to, as a leader, you really got to take the initiative to get to know everybody. Like, I don't sit with you every time we have Supper Buddies.
Right.
I make sure I
sit
sit
with
with
the
a
new
different person, and I try to reiterate that to all my people. Don't sit with your best friend. You can have dinner with them tomorrow. Right now, I want you to go sit with somebody you don't know. And I'm going to start playing games when they come in. So I'm going to give them a number and number the tables. And they have to sit at that number table because people won't do what I ask. So now I'm going to make them do it.
Yeah.
It's
Get
gonna be
outside their
interesting.
comfort zone.
Yes, I'm
Right.
like a Nazi life
So once
leader.
you're outside that comfort zone, it really,
You should probably cut that out.
It only takes 3 minutes to get outside of your comfort zone as soon as you start talking to somebody. Maybe less.
Yeah.
If you're shy or whatever and you start talking within a few minutes, you've met another acquaintance that is going to become
A good friend,
a good
hopefully.
friend
Yeah.
or someone that you can lean on.
So this is a two-way question. Have you been able to afford to help other people, and vice versa? Have you benefited from people helping you? Maybe not only
Yes.
spiritually, but also in other ways.
So spiritually, yes, absolutely. We have-
Josh.
yes. So 3 years ago.
I think we have helped people spiritually because they see it in us, in our relationship, in our family.
Yeah.
Other family members have seen it, and we've seen them start going to church.
Start changing.
His mom moved down here, started going to church with us.
So 3 years
have
ago,
seen
we
it, yeah.
fasted.
It was our first time.
It was
we've
our first
ever
time
done
we
it.
ever fasted.
3 days in a row, which was very hard. We've never done it before.
And I had a friend who's an alcoholic, and he was
And an atheist.
and an atheist, and he was on the verge of dying. And he was a good friend. He was a scout leader.
Really?
And we prayed for him, and to get help and come to church, and it worked.
But he didn't want to have nothing. He didn't want anything to do with church. He didn't believe in God, none of
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
And-
And he went to a home where they rehabilitate alcoholics.
Yep.
And our second day of fasting, he had called him and said, "Oh, sorry."
It was great. It was great.
He said, "I got on my knees and I lifted my hands
Yeah.
to God and I prayed
Yeah.
that if you just give me one more day of living, I'm going to get better." And I apologize. And
It is-
he's
it
still
was-
alive to this day.
It was literally an amazing miracle, and it was our first time that we'd ever fasted.
Experienced a
and
miracle, too,
experienced
like that.
It was amazing, and it really, once you experience that, it changes everything. It changes how you think about so many different things, and so. I think that we've tried to help in that aspect, and that's how we have helped. And
Our boys go to church. My oldest is 23 years old and lives on his own, and he comes to church every Sunday.
That was my next question. Has it affected your
Yeah.
children?
And our youngest,
we-
we have issues with our youngest a little bit. He's 18. I'm sure y'all know 18-year-olds. He's always been a little bit difficult, very stubborn.
Well, hold on. Back to your last question. You asked if anybody from the church, if we benefited from them.
Yeah.
So, and she's about to tell you, we have a gentleman, and this was miracle number 2. And just recently, we had a gentleman offer to be a mentor to our son,
Our youngest son. He's battling some things right now.
and it was literally.
I prayed at Wednesday night worship. I told him, we're walking out of Wednesday night worship. I said, you know what? I prayed for God to just please send a male mentor to Nick because he's not listening to us. And it wasn't 2 minutes of walking out the door. Our friend Benny said, hey, can I ask you something? I said, what? I'm real goofy with him. I'm like, what do you want? He's like, I would like to meet with Nick and maybe talk with him and see if that. And I was like, Benny, you literally have no idea. Like, no idea. I just told Brett I prayed for that. I just prayed for that.
My hairs on my arms stood up. So, yes, we have benefited from getting to know people and connecting and people from our church. It's like...
And having people like that make us want to grow in our
absolutely.
Spiritual life and faith.
Well, that was my next question.
Stuff.
Is it now an essential part of your life?
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
And we're not the, let's go, do we want to go to church or not? I mean, it's Sunday morning, we're at church. Wednesday night, we're not so regular with that yet. But we go a lot on Wednesday nights. But every Sunday we go. We serve twice a month on Sundays, wherever they need us.
It's essential in our lives because we both feel we need to grow. Continue to grow.
In the way the world is right now, you have to have it. Like, if you don't have it, if you don't have God in your heart in this time, I mean, I just feel bad for people because he gives you he gives you hope. Like, hope.
And it's tough to find that on your own. I don't know if you will be able to find that on your own, having the Holy Spirit in you.
On a larger scale, do you think that Lake City Church has changed the community?
I hope.
I do.
I hope it has.
I do, because the responses and the feedback that we get, and it's not just us as leaders at the church, it's a lot of the other leaders. They get so much feedback
from people in their groups.
But it's because of the connections that people make in that church.
Then we hope that from these life groups and from members of the church, they go out into the community and practice what they are learning on Sunday mornings.
And bring more people.
Don't just be a Christian at church in the doors, but you need to be a Christian outside of the doors. When somebody cuts you off in traffic, don't flip them off and don't scream at them. Just always think, maybe they're going through something, or maybe they're in a hurry, or because you never know what somebody else is going through. And so we always hope that people will have that. I'm not perfect about it, especially behind the wheel, but
I pray for her all the time.
Yes, I need lots of prayer behind the wheel.
So this has become an essential part of your life.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, I think this conversation has been very refreshing. Was there anything else that you'd like to add or say? I don't want to take a lot of your time.
I don't think so.
No, just I think that the more you grow spiritually and the more you grow and have Christ in you, the easier it is.
And it doesn't mean life will be perfect.
No.
It just means there's going to be somebody always there for you to lean on and talk to and ask for help. In those non-perfect moments, there's somebody.
I grow through those other members of the church that are willing to give us that information.
So they've had an impact on your life.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So.
Yeah. It took us a while to connect in the church. I'm not going to lie. It took us a long time to connect in the church. And for a long time, it was just me serving because he was in the guard. And so I would serve on the days he would have guard drill. And so it was always just me. And I kind of felt alone serving, but I still did it. But I was like, man, I don't feel like nobody talks to me, whatever. But it was like once we started doing it together and started leaving life groups together is when we actually started getting connected too.
Yeah.
So
it took me to retire. I needed to retire out
but
of the Air
it
Force.
is walking in and out the doors is not going to get you connected in a church. Just stop and talk to somebody.
Yeah.
If you see somebody standing there by themselves, go talk to them.
Yeah.
Because there's always somebody standing by themselves.
Well, that's how we met you.
Yeah.
Basically,
We were sitting by
you were
ourselves.
sitting by yourselves. So.
But that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're very, very pleased, and we've received a lot of benefits from meeting you, and for a short period of time. I appreciate your
I'm glad.
time
Yeah.
you spent
Yeah, no, not a problem.
making this video, and hopefully that your message can be propagated in another manner. So.
Definitely.
In the future.
And we'll pray about it.
Pray about it for sure.
That's great. Well, thanks again.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you.
you.
It was nice meeting you guys
Melissa,
too. Yeah.
Brett, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.